Summer is here, and while that used to be a lot slower over time for video game releases, the indie world does not stop, not even for a summer break. Hey there, I'm CGDannyB, and I really like indie games, like sharing them with you guys. And with plenty of games getting release dates during showcases last month, you'll want to take your Steam Deck or Switch with you on vacation, because you won't want to miss out on all these upcoming indie releases. But before we get rolling, be sure to hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more indie gaming goodness. Now, let's look at some indie games. Usually, video games are all about avoiding death as much as possible, even if certain games make that pretty inevitable. In Bloodrush Undying Wish, however, death has been captured, and it's up to you to find her and set her free. To do so, you'll have to enter Death's domain, and dash, shoot, and strike your way through this lightning-paced hack-and-slash roguelike. The pace of the game isn't just frantic because of the amount of enemies, but also because your health is constantly draining out, so you have to move quickly to avoid dying yourself. The gameplay is highly addictive, with your ability to create massive combos, making Bloodrush feel like a kind of dance between you and your enemies. Combine that with some gorgeous and colorful visuals, and you're set for an exciting time. So become the stranger and try to rescue death when Bloodrush Undying Wish drops in early access starting July 1st on Steam. This 2D adventure game has huge retro vibes in which you have to dig to progress forward, and you can bet I'll be a fan of this one. This game is called Everdeep Aurora. Due to an ongoing apocalyptic meteor shower, the world's population is living underground. You wake up as Shell, a feline child who finds out that her mother has gone missing. So you set out to find her in Everdeep. As you dig through all the layers, you'll meet tormented inhabitants who are struggling with their new reality. This narrative exploration platformer looks gorgeous, with its 16-bit yet still kinda Game Boy aesthetic evoking both the great games of the past and certainly more recent indie darlings. There are plenty of characters to meet, puzzles to solve, and secrets to discover. What will your journey through Everdeep bring you? Find out when Everdeep Aurora drops on July 10th for Steam and Nintendo Switch. It hasn't been the busiest year yet when it comes to Devolver publishing games, but with Mycopunk, it looks like we're back big time. This is a hyper-customizable mission-based co-op shooter that will immediately draw your attention thanks to some absolutely stunning visuals. You and your friends are the new Atlas Hazard Crew, a ragtag squad of robots who are given one last shot at making it big time, and avoiding the scrap heap while you're at it. Choosing from an insane arsenal of weapons and power tools, you're sent out on dangerous planet-side missions to drive back the mycological menace threatening the planet. Find out whether this is just a natural disaster as you've been told, or whether there's actually more going on than you're allowed to know, all while creating unbelievable synergies with your teammates to drive back your enemies. You could drop in this epically stylized FPS when Mycopunk releases in early access on July 10th for Steam. So this next game actually got delayed out of last month, but I still gotta remind you that it's coming out. We all have our own personal favorite Mario game, but I think we can all agree that the original 2D platformers reign some of the best games of all time. So when the trailer for Benny Bash opened with something that looked remarkably like the NES originals, I was intrigued. But when that same trailer showed us pulling away from the TV screen and into a horror world reminiscent of Inscription, I was hooked completely. Benny Bash is a game that sees you playing through a cursed 80s video game while a malevolent entity hunts you down. That means you get some sweet platforming action, but while you're away from the TV, you're solving escape room-like puzzles to try to survive. And let me tell you, Benny looks incredibly scary. This game was easily one of the many highlights from the recent 6-1 Indie Showcase, and I cannot wait for July 11th when Benny Bash finally releases on Steam. Sometimes, inspiration can come from the unlikeliest of places, and that's certainly true for Worship, a multiplayer cult simulator that's inspired by Pikmin of all things. Don the robes of a cultist and try to take over the world with your followers, where you perform rituals to please your god, even if it takes sacrificing some of your loyal followers to do it. The game has striking visuals with its limited use of color and its hand-drawn animations, and being able to play this one with up to 3 friends promises a lot of chaos. Upgrade the bonds between you and your followers, but more importantly, with your god, as you try to finally summon them into your world and invoke the end of times. Will your faith be strong enough? Find out when Worship releases in early access starting on July 16th for Steam. Drillcore needs you. In the race to profits and earning, a race against climate collapse, the company is looking for the leaders of tomorrow. Those who are unafraid to go mining in the most challenging environments known to humankind. It's not just mining minerals, it's safeguarding the future. Well, that's what the company wants you to think anyway. Drillcore is a strategic planet mining game, where you'll combine managing your team, researching technology, and protecting yourself and your team from incoming nighttime attacks. With every success leading to more complex gameplay, you're never able to rest on your laurels, as more intricate mining and more robust defense strategies will be needed. Drillcore has already been out in early access for quite some time, but it's finally making its jump to version 1.0 on July 17th for Steam. Fans of the point-and-click adventure genre have already been eaten super well this year, and they'll be able to add another instant classic to their collection when the Drifter is finally in our hands. In this pulp adventure thriller, you'll play as a murdered drifter, killed because you witnessed another violent murder. And now you reawaken seconds before your own death, with the other murder being pinned on you, all while you're being hunted by those who actually did it. The Drifter is a classic 2D point-and-click adventure that takes inspiration from the likes of Stephen King and a dash of 70s Aussie grindhouse. The difficulty of the game's puzzles is kept at the lower end, making sure that the pace of the story is constantly going for the gamer, as you try to unravel a web of shadowy corporations, murder, and the 1,000-year obsession of a madman. And you can step into the Drifter's shoes when he reawakens on July 17th for Steam. If you've ever heard of the term sellout in the music industry, then you'll have some idea of what to expect in Fretless: The Wrath of Riffson. Rick Riffson, the CEO of an evil super metals record company, is using a Battle of the Bands competition to trap the best musicians in soul-binding contracts. As Rob, it's up to you to release the musical world from Riffson's deadly grip, and obviously, you'll do this through the power of music. Collect sick riffs across the land to add to your deck, and play them through your mighty guitar to defeat Riffson's goons, monster instrument hybrids, and legendary musical animals. This turn-based RPG sports some glorious pixel art, and its combat feels totally epic due to some truly excellent tunes. You can even amplify your guitar with physical add-ons, giving you the ability to burst out some of the most legendary of solos. So join Rob and his rock-loving friends as they embark on a quest to save all of music, when Fretless: The Wrath of Riffson strums onto Steam starting on July 17th. In this relentless roguelike action RPG, you'll play as Payu, a fierce warrior descending into a dark fantasy version of 19th century Brazil's War of Canudos, in order to rescue his mentor's soul, where time literally ticks as your power grows deeper in hellish dungeons. This game is called Hellclock, where each run is a frantic race against the clock, pushing to uncover ancient relics, forge potent builds, and face undead incarnations of historical oppressors. The gameplay loop is addictive. In between blood-soaked dives, you'll upgrade your skills, craft relic synergies, and choose between blessings that rewrite history with each playthrough. Visually, Hellclock features stylized hand-drawn 3D environments, dripping with atmospheric dark fantasy vibes and pungent historical trauma. Also featuring optional relax and hardcore modes, you can either savor the history or embrace the chaos. So if you're up for a rhythm of violence, resistance, and maybe a little historical rewriting, Hellclock is ticking, and you can play it for yourself when it releases on Steam starting July 22nd. 2020's Undermine was an action-adventure roguelike with RPG elements that was received very positively by both fans and critics. So much so, that now we're getting a sequel. Return to the action in the depths of the Undermine, where you'll battle challenging enemies alongside a friend, because now you can play it co-op. Your ultimate goal is to challenge the Delvemore Castle, but beware, because there are more wars going on here than you might expect. Discover, combine, craft, and transmute powerful relics to make your character the greatest hero of the lands, or give your friend all the glory and bask in their light. And you and your buddy can dig into Undermine 2 when it launches in early access starting on July 22nd for Steam. The month of July is known the world over as the time for the Tour de France, the biggest cycling competition of the year. But from 2025 on, cycling enthusiasts might also claim it as Real World Month. In this new game by Messhoff, the people behind the Nidhogg games, you are chosen by an ancient cycling spirit to perform the Great Shift ritual. As this hasn't been performed in a while, it's put the universe on the brink of disaster, so you have to do everything in your power to get it done. That means exploring this gorgeous open world as you're racing against bike gangs, finding hidden secrets, and upgrading your ride. Rebuild your legendary bike by finding the stolen parts that'll allow you to perform the Great Shift and finally save the world. Wheel World races onto Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox starting on July 23rd. This cozy hotel management game has you opening your doors to species all across the galaxy. You just have to make sure that they're comfortable. This casual time management game is called Hotel Galactic, where you're tasked with transforming a rundown hotel into more than the sum of its parts. Discover the stories of everyone who visits the hotel in this beautiful sandbox, where you get to decide which stories you want to follow up on. You'll be guided by the ghostly presence of your grandfather, whose story of loss, love, and thirst for vengeance intertwines with your own journey in this hotel. Mostly though, you'll be optimizing the way your hotel runs and enjoying the beautiful hand-painted anime-inspired art. So kick off your own hotel business when Hotel Galactic arrives on July 24th for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. Probably one of the most anticipated cozy games for this year, Tales of the Shire is finally going to be in our grubby little hands. In Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings game, yes, I realize how dumb that title sounds, you get to live out your own fantasy of living like a hobbit, just the way J.R.R. Tolkien envisioned it, whether it's your character's design, your home, or even the food that you eat. The game looks exactly like you remember the Shire from the original Peter Jackson movies, both inside your own home and outside where you discover forests, lakes, and pastures that look like fairy tales come to life. Anyone with any kind of love for both cozy games and the Lord of the Rings franchise will be highly aware of this game's release, and won't be thinking twice about picking it up. So get ready to dive into the world of Lord of the Rings when Tales of the Shire drops on July 29th for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. In this retro-inspired Roguevania, you'll hack and slash your way pixel art neon world as a badass feathered friend. Atomic Owl is a gorgeous neon-lit pixel art action platformer with roguelite elements. You'll play as Hidalgo Bladewing, a character that the developers describe as a bird with a beef. After having encountered the vengeful Void Crow Omega Wing at your favorite ramen spot a couple years ago, you must confront them once again to save your fallen companions. Luckily, Hidalgo won't have to do this alone, as he gets some help from a chaotic and brash talking sword. Together, you'll travel through a gorgeously crafted world as you attempt to rid your friends of their brainwashed state, and defeat Omega Wing once and for all. So hack, slash, and soar through the skies in Atomic Owl, when it releases on July 31st on Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. The original Ninja Gaiden games were some of the best looking 2D action platformers, so when a brand new adventure in that classic style is set to release, you'd hope the developers know what they're doing. And getting the team who made both of the Blasphemous games to take the reins on this one is already looking like a perfect decision. While Ryu Hayabusa's gone from his village, the barrier between the human and demon world is suddenly shattered, and now the village is under attack. Luckily, Kenji Mozu, a young ninja from the Hayabusa village, rises to the challenge. But he can't win this fight alone though, so he forms an alliance with the sinister Black Spider clan, hoping that together they can stop the demon invasion. This means you get to control two ninjas simultaneously, giving a modern edge to the classic gameplay that we all love. Discover why Ninja Gaiden has become such a beloved series when Ninja Gaiden Ragebound releases on July 31st for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And there you have it, 16 upcoming indie games that you can play this July. This month is pretty much packed with any genre you could wish for, and trust me, August is going to be even better. But for now, let me know in the comments which of these games you would be picking up for your library, or which games I missed out on for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.